Hello and welcome to episode 373 of the DCP Plus SideQuest. DCP. Wait, what did we call it? What didn't we
DC
figure out?
Plus.
DC Plus.
I can't. It's been 10 years to say it DCP. It's hard to not say it.
That's why I
DC
said DCP Plus, but you all voted it down.
Then TV was like, "Why are you saying P twice?
Yeah,
Just
I
stands
think
for
it was
Destiny
personal.
Community Plus."
It was an attack on
like-
Fran. I think it was personal.
DC
You know
Plus.
who I hate? You know when
Who
you
do you
put a
hate?
golf ball on a tee, you guys know, and the ball falls out, and one of your playing partners says, "That's one." I hate that guy. Don't you hate that guy?
Yeah, nah, those people can be pretty annoying.
I hate that guy.
There was one guy that I used to play disc golf with who would,
Uh-huh.
whenever this is what annoyed me more than that, is whenever you would be really close to the basket, and sometimes you miss that shot. Sometimes you're just
Yeah.
really off, whatever.
Yeah.
You commit, he'll go up and he would grab your disc and just throw it and be like, "Okay, the next hole." Like, bro,
Wow.
what are we playing the game right now? What is happening?
I hate that guy. That game,
These guys.
disc golf, is the hardest game that you don't know is hard until you try it.
It's really fun though.
It is. I love it. Brian,
It is
real
fun.
fast. You would
Yeah.
love this. My friends and I invented a game called, it was disc golf, but we didn't invent that. But while we played disc golf, we played what was called the 49. So you
Okay.
play 9 holes of disc golf with a 40 ounce.
Nice.
We had various rules.
Oh,
But either way, you had to
okay.
get through that 40 ounce once you were playing. Yeah, so we'd get Old English or some Mickey. Oof, it was rough.
The game was real hard.
Did you have a because in disc golf you have a bag, right? You carry your discs in a bag.
You were
Did
pretty
have a
pro.
cup
We only
holder
had
that
a
was big enough
few.
for
We
a
were
40?
not like PDGA or whatever you were.
Oh.
We just had a few. But yeah, you only had a few discs. We weren't I haven't
That's
played
why
recently.
you got to get the bag that's called the nut sack. It's just a little
Sold.
one this big, and it's
Googling
got a
it right
cup holder
now.
on the side. It's just perfect for just a little bit.
I got to say, in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, we've covered a lot of ground
We
already.
I'm proud of us.
Assuming that
Nutsack.
Watts has never played disc golf, I can confirm that I am the worst disc golfer here.
I have not played disc golf. no.
Still can
It's-
confirm I'm the worst one.
Pretty awesome.
Terrible. I'm terrible. I could throw frisbee. We used to play a game where we'd take ski poles, stick them in the ground, probably like a horseshoe pit distance apart, put a beer can on top of the ski pole, and then your goal was to throw a frisbee at the beer can. If you hit the beer can, the other people had to catch it before it hit the ground, or they lost the point.
That sounds fun.
It was fun.
Lots of
Interesting.
heads
Yard games.
colliding.
What's that? Lighting?
Lots of heads colliding. I'd assume.
Well, no, it
going
was
for that
it
big
was a
model.
2v2 sport.
Oh,
You took
okay, I
turns,
gotcha.
both
I was
catching
picturing
and receiving.
a group of people.
What was that football game we used to play as kids where you had one quarterback just throw the ball up in the air and then you had 10 kids trying to catch it? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
That one was
I know.
rife with injuries. Anyhow, how's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Lots of reading today.
Yeah.
Jeez, exactly.
You made a summary of today's TWAB, and I was like,
I
oh
did.
my God, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of things that have happened. It's a
Well,
really good summary.
I
too.
feel like I can't take stuff in unless I write it down sometimes. So
Oh.
I just old school habits, I guess, or
Smart.
something.
Reinforcement. Smart.
Yeah. There we go. Helps me take it apart. And some of the stuff is just nice to see it. I feel like Bungie words stuff really weird sometimes. And I'm like, I need to write this myself. It's gotta here we go. Okay, this makes more sense. For instance, we're getting a 20% special ammo buff in the new Sandbox, but it's not really 20% because health is getting increased 15%. So it's more like 5% is how you could think of it. And it's just confusing, just the way everything. But what can you do? There's a lot of moving parts here.
When we used
Lot of
to
words.
do work for Planet Destiny, when this was still the Planet Destiny podcast, every once in a while, mostly when Holtzman wasn't available, they'd ask me to do a SWAB summary video. And I was like, I'm not your man here. but I'll do it. But the only way I could do it is if I basically rewrote the TWAB in my own words, because otherwise I'd just be like, I don't know what this means. This is meaningless. I have no idea.
Mhm.
So it'd always take like me 4 hours what Holtzman could do in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Fair.
Anyhow,
Yep.
should we
He's a sharp cookie.
jump into the big news for Destiny today?
Oh, big news.
Let's
Yes.
do it.
Well, should we hit it off with what they're going over?
Yeah.
Do y'all want me to just summarize some of this?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So we got the PvP strike team talking about a bunch of stuff, and they list out 5 major issues: Crucible maps, rewards, game modes, Sandbox issues, and matchmaking. And the first thing they talk about is just the staleness that the Crucible has been in, which I appreciate them acknowledging. You know, I feel like a lot of Crucible players are like, man, we just want to hear Bungie, like, you know, understand where we're coming from. And they started out like, they're just like, PvP can tell its own story, but we've played this map 100 times and feels like you've heard this story before. And then they go on to address how they're going to be changing things. And the thing that they talk about spawns, like redoing the spawns on basically all the maps, but then they say removing all backfield spawns from non-rift modes. So the
That was
Citadel,
big.
Cathedral Dust, Disjunction, and Convergence.
Yeah, so basically what that means is instead of spawning all the way in the back of those big maps, you're going to spawn a lot closer to the action. So it's going to, what they said in the TWAB is it's going to make them play about 30 to 50% smaller than what it feels like right now.
That seems
Mhm.
smart. So you'd just be
Good.
like less of those like minute and a half walks to get to the action after respawn.
Yes.
That's
yes.
great.
It's
Yeah.
so nice because some of those maps were so big for other game types, like Rumble playing Disjunction, and you're just like, it takes you a full minute, you know, to just find somebody in that map, and then you're always going to time. Half the team quits, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? And so they talk about these changes, and then also in May how they're adding those new maps, and they talk about what they're actually going to be called and where they're from.
They did,
Eventide
yeah.
Labs from Europa. Cirrus Plaza, Neomuna, and Dissonance in the Terraform Pyramid ship.
That's
So
interesting.
And they
sounds
said
fun.
that these are made for 3v3, right? Like they're going to
Yes.
still be in like 6v6, but they've been made specifically with 3v3 in mind. And we knew that they were going to be smaller, so I guess that makes sense.
And that was desperately needed. Like
Yeah.
all of the recent maps are so big as they just talked about reducing their size. And it's like we really desperately needed some classic, smaller Destiny maps to play in. So this is
Definitely, yeah.
very nice. And then along with the map stuff, they also talk about dead cliffs. They give an example for how they've updated their workflows or are changing them right now to where they're quickly able to address like map imbalance and spawning. So they say, for
That's good.
example, next time in Dead Cliff returns to trials, it will have changes made to spawn zones and heavy placement to make it more balanced. So they're like more frequently changing these things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Now for some really good stuff.
Ooh.
Artifice armor is coming to the Crucible,
It
which
is.
is huge. They basically said their goal is they're wanting in-game rewards that are in PvE to be available in PvP for you to those kind of players to have them. And so now they're letting you get Artifice armor through the same way that you would get like your comp weapon right now. You play those 3 games, and then there's an extra step. It says like along with that, there's a way to get this Artifice armor in that weekly grind, but it's has no cap to it, so you can keep playing, and the more victories you get once you get it the one time, it will just randomly drop for you Artifice armor from victories sometimes.
Yeah. I really would love for them to add it to the flawless chest as well. It's just like a guarantee you go flawless. In the flawless chest is the Artifice Trials armor, but you can get like Trials armor from other places. I think that would be really good. But this is definitely definitely a big step because we can't get Artifice armor at all at the moment in Crucible. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't the one bigger note here? You can only get Artifice. Is it all the time or occasionally? Which dungeon is free? In other words, that you can even get it and when. But
right.
this would be free all the time, right? For anybody. I mean, obviously, if you're only a PvP player, that's the important part. But isn't this
Do
mean it's
you
free now?
you don't need the latest expansion to play comp, right? That's just for trials. Is
Yeah,
that
I
correct?
think
That's
that's
what I
correct.
lose track. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
but I
I
think
believe that's
it's
correct.
totally
I
free
think it
here.
is.
I'm pretty yeah. Help us out because it's so hard as everything's evolved.
very
I
difficult.
always say I'm like without starting a new character on a fresh account and like logging in and testing stuff. I'm like I have no idea anymore. But anyway, I think roughly that's what's going on here as well. So it's a free path to Artifice Armor as well. I think.
True.
I think.
Which is just great on all sides. Like, yeah, there's gonna be so many more people playing comp now, like, and so many PvP players even that don't play comp that are gonna be interested. Because there's a lot of PvP players that just don't enter comp; they just play quick play and other stuff like that. And now, or trials, and so now they have a reason to actually go into that playlist to go and get Artifice Armor for their other characters that don't have it, or even like me, who never goes into the dungeons to get that stuff. Now I can go and actually get some good gear. So I am very, very excited for that. And I'm definitely going to be playing a ton more comp with this change.
How long do you think it takes to get to this moment where the stuff drops?
Oh, yeah, there are
hours-wise,
two
or
caveats to it. So one is you have to reach gold 3 or above. And so I wrote out here, you've got the like lowest is copper 3-1, then bronze 3-1, and then silver 3-1, and then you get to gold. So, but gold 3 is one of the levels that once you complete your placement matches, it could just put you past gold 3, or at gold 3. And so it's one that, like, once you do your placement matches, you might just be able to get it right away. It just depends. And so at first I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks for players that, couldn't make it that high into that bracket. But then I was like, like, dungeon stuff is difficult and it's not like a super high bar. Like, I feel like gold 3 is like low middle rank area. So it's like you just got to put in some work, put in some time to make it up there. I don't know. How do y'all feel about that? It being like gated to a certain rank to get this armor.
That's why I asked about how long it might take for that grind,
Right.
because if you have access to dungeons and have a team to farm, the last checkpoint or whatever,
It could
again, I
take a
haven't done it in a
while.
while, but
Not for
like,
your weekly, but because of the placement matches, you have to play like 7 games to get placed, and those could be 7 really defeating long games for you if you don't play Crucible much.
But once you're there for what is it? Does that reset per season?
There is decay.
Yes.
To
yeah,
ranks.
that's right.
But I guess if you do reach gold and then you want to keep farming for the armor or the weapons or something like that, you're probably going to be at least playing for while you care about having that rank. So
yeah, that's what I was saying about. It's like once you're there, I guess it's not that bad because you just have to do the weekly challenge, and then it will continue to have a chance to drop on further victories.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't seem that bad. And it does feel like, I guess I was worried about all players, but it really does feel aimed at PvP players. It's not like they're trying to get PvE players like, hey, don't go play the dungeon, play this. I think they want players to do what they want to do, and this is just a way for PvP players, hey, you don't have to go and leave or miss out on this stuff that only PvE players have. We're letting you have it in your in-game as well.
Yeah, I mean, it takes you out of... You literally have to play if you want top stats on your armor. You have to play PvE, and I think that's the main thing they're addressing here, right? Is to say, I'm just a PvP player. Why are you making me figure out a dungeon? Some people don't want that at all. Yeah, and to gate that community off in a good way though, and say like they don't want to do this other stuff, so we're going to give them a path.
Yeah, I'm not mad about the rank requirement. I think it would just be like we said before, it would be really nice if they also added it to the flawless chest, so there's just more ways for Crucible players to get that armor. I think that would be nice.
Oh, they also said they're upping chances to drop exotic weapon catalysts on victories in comp as well. So little tweaks there. But then
Nice.
then the big changes come with trials.
They do.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Okay. So first they mentioned there's a change to a passage we have now and then a new passage. The change to the passage we have now is ferocity. And it's kind of like, to me, it's like you get to 3 wins and then it like marks that checkpoint. And once you go past that, if you lose, it just resets you back to 3 wins. And
So Lego breaking up for you guys?
Yeah.
Robotic. all of a
oh
sudden.
no.
Oh, roboty.
I think you're catching up.
Yeah. Yeah. You have caught
You
up.
must have
My bad.
AT&T.
Yeah, let's go back to
Oh, it's the
beginning
AT&T
of that.
thing. Okay. Am I with y'all? Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. So basically, it's like you get up to 3 and you've got that checkpoint, and anytime past that you lose, you just go back to 3 and you're good. So it's just like
Yeah.
a little trials checkpoint.
I think that's pretty nice. Like looking at normally you just grab mercy, pretty much if you're trying to go flawless. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that would make me want to grab that one where if I get to 5 and then I lose, I just go back to 3 instead of going back to 1
Yeah.
or 0. So yeah, I think that's actually kind of nice. I might use that one.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then the next one is the big, like, oh my gosh. We are for the first time going to be able to get an adept trials weapon without going flawless. You still have to work for it, but it is happening. They've introduced Passage of Persistence. And this is a back and forth type card where every time you win, it puts one on the card, but if you lose, it takes one away. But there's also safety built in throughout the card where if you get 2 wins, you can't get 2 losses.
France
in a row. You
losing
can't-
it.
Sorry, I almost did a spit take, Mr.
You
Robot.
almost did do spit. You did go a bit robotic. It wasn't as bad as last time.
Yeah, maybe just like the 20 seconds back.
Oh no. Okay. So basically,
Eat popcorn.
you go forward in your card, and if you lose, you go back. But there's safety, and if you get 2 wins, you can't lose 2 losses. Like you can't lose 2 wins in a row.
Yeah.
It will just keep you there on that win. So it's like every time you get 2 wins, you're that much closer, and you've secured at least one of those.
Yeah,
awesome.
so if you're on 2 wins and then you lose like 5 times in a row, you're still gonna have that 1 win on your card. So eventually, when you do work up to 7, you will get the adept weapon from that week.
Passage of the Masochist.
It's just like, hey, if you want to try and get some adept trials weapons and you are down to stay in the playlist for a long time, you could maybe eventually get there. And
Yeah.
I said on Twitter that this was a good change, and the Destiny community, being very awesome and fantastic, we're saying how awful it is, and it's a participation reward. And why are we giving people things when it's supposed to be like a thing that you have achieved? And I'm like, okay, so for going flawless, you get the adept weapon, you get shards, you get the flawless shader, you get the glow, and you get like ghosts, sparrows, ships, etc. But not only that, but as soon as you go flawless, you can now farm any 7-win card, whether you have a loss or not, and get adept weapons at potentially every single win after you go flawless. So you're looking at some people who are picking up that card. If they're winning and losing, it's probably going to take at least 2 hours, maybe 3, for them to get 1 adept roll. And then they don't get to just keep playing and get adept weapons to drop. They have to start all over again on that card to get another drop. So that's another, let's say, 3 hours. And who knows when you're going to get the roll that you want. Like I farmed for the trace rifle all weekend and was farming drops post going flawless. And it took me all weekend to get that. It was like easily 30 hours of gameplay to get the drop that I wanted. So if you're thinking of people wanting to get a drop that they want, taking 3 hours to get 1 drop, I mean, it's a crazy amount of time. So
they earned it at that point.
Well, that's what I think. And I personally I am absolutely at the point and have been at the point with Destiny for a long time where I think it is much more important that the player base is healthy And when it is a PvP game, PvP games, PvP modes live and die by their population.
Especially
So if
trials.
especially trials. So if you're one of those people being like, "Oh man, all I ever face is cheaters or zimmers and it's just the same people all over again," this is something that can help with that issue. It could even potentially help with recovs, maybe not. Depends on how if the person's willing to play for a bunch of time, but yeah, it's I can only see this as a good thing because it respects players' time, and I think that it is so important for video game companies to respect players for putting a bunch of time into their game. And if they added Artifice Armor to Flawless, I would love that even more, because then that's another thing that you get for going Flawless that you don't get for doing this card. But hey, if there's like a player who doesn't feel like they're that good at PvP and they want to put in that amount of time in trials, I think them getting one adept weapon is fine.
Yeah.
And it makes it far less you know, what is it, like scary to go into trials
Yeah.
for those players that aren't as skilled, because right now it's like, it's what you said, it's respecting time, and they know that if they go in there and play 5 games and then get a loss, it's just like nothing, like they just didn't get anything from that experience. Whereas on this new card, they can just keep at it. And so a couple of things happen. One, it gets more people in the playlist, like you said. It gets more people in there because they're not scared of it, and they get experience from it too.
That's
like the
huge.
experience of going in there and being like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. I'm not as afraid. I'm not as stressed because I'm just having a good time getting these wins. And if I get losses, I can't go back too far. And then not only that, maybe it might even like help people want to improve. Like I think it was TV or somebody who said this a while ago, like, I don't make video. I mean, he's not doing as much Destiny stuff anyway now, but like he did it something about like, hey, I don't do like how to get better in Crucible or how to do this good in Crucible because nobody really wants to improve. And this would give people incentive to like, oh, hey, like I've been playing this. I kind of want to get to the lighthouse faster. I kind of want to, you know, I'm enjoying this a little bit more. And that would be so cool to see how many people feel that way after jumping into this passage.
Yeah, exactly. Like for all these people that might be upset, I'd love to ask them, like, well, what do you want improved with trials, if anything? You know, would they all say nothing, just some new maps? Or wouldn't they say, I want faster matchmaking, more people to play with, you know, to that end? Like, how are you going to get more people in there if like it's so discouraging? So it's not that you want to take away from it. But like really meaning, okay, you're farming. The people that are good are farming like adept weapon after adept weapon, like you said, once you go flawless, etc. So I think that's good. And it's not the same per the note. It's a little confusing. I was trying to like make sure I parse through this right. But it's like if you have a win removed, you have the 7-win chance to, or once you get to 7 right, you get the adept roll, right?
Yeah.
But it's not the same as flawless. You didn't go flawless.
No
You just got that.
And there's still no guarantee you're going to get
still
7 wins. Like
there is no guarantee. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get there.
There's not.
Yeah.
You do. And yeah, for people picking up that passage, it's probably going to take them a while. And it also takes off so much stress and, like Lego said, the intimidation of jumping into a PvP playlist, because people do feel like that. But now they can just be like, I can hop in and I'll work towards it throughout the weekend, and maybe I'll see if I can get something. It takes off so much pressure that I think getting people into PvP playlists is really important. I think that's like the most important thing.
when are they making this change? Because I know there's like different dates for different things. Is this one of the changes that's coming with the new season, or is this one of the changes that's coming in March?
That's update 735.
Yep. That's March.
Yep, that's March 5th.
I wonder if that's a mistake. I wonder if it's better to bring these trials changes with a new season, with new rewards, and like when there's a real big influx of players into trials.
So here's why I think it's not a mistake, and this is because they want to get everything right. They have to have everything right when final shape drops, so that new players who enter in actually stick around and are grabbed by these things, because otherwise,
that's a good point.
you know, they'd be testing it all out right when all these new players come, and what if it doesn't hit like they think it's going to?
So they could tweak it from between March and what's the date of the release of Final Shape? Is it June?
June 4th.
June 4th.
June 4th.
which means Trials is technically, would it be after that weekend? Oh man, Lego just got
That was
well,
scary.
you got transported.
Yeah, AT&T.
That was crazy.
That was
You're just
heading back to the
watching,
80s right there.
Yeah, we saw like UHF color bars and like an alien showed up for like 2 seconds behind static. But we can hear Lego.
Too hot in here and the camera shut off.
Oh.
That's
Oof. Sorry to hear it, man. But we can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I was gonna say, does Trials? It normally doesn't launch the same weekend, right? As like, do they still do that when the game comes out, or I don't remember now, right? With Iron Banner, and would it come out the same weekend as, of after June 4th, or no? What is the schedule now usually?
They
So in other words,
changing it. Yeah,
changed it so many times.
Well,
they do change it all the time.
It just can't go up at the same time. When Iron Banner's up, it's still true that Trials is not up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's currently as we know. So that, I guess maybe it will be up, and we just don't remember what they do on launch weekends. So yeah, maybe the weekend of June 7th is what I was getting at.
Usually, if there's a power increase, they normally keep Trials off the books for a little bit.
I feel like it's one of those things like, and they like to have like a bit of a rollout, with that content plus the seasonal content and all. So it might be a little bit after, into later June. So
Jess also brings up a good point in chat. The 2 new adept weapons are getting added with the March 5th update.
Oh right, yeah, new stuff too.
Yeah, you will have, with them launching these Trials changes, you will have new stuff in Trials. So.
That's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. There is one other thing with Trials along with all of this, and this is one that's been kind of controversial. The lobby balancing within Trials, like that matchmaking and the matchmaking. So you've got right now solos can go in, duos can go in, and you got trios. And there's a lot of talk about like, oh, we should get rid of duos. Because it's clogging up, like that, because then solos are being matched with them and they're having to play 3 stacks, and that can just be a frustrating experience. And they give out all of these reasons why, people want it a certain way and why they are straying away from that. Like they say that actually it wouldn't help trios at all if they got rid of duos, and the trio playlist would eventually die because solo playlists would be so easy or comparatively. And so instead, they're trying to give participation rewards essentially for 3-man fire teams. So like I need to read the actual changes that they're giving. It's an additional 50% chance to drop a non-adept Trials weekly weapon reward, 50% chance to get a Trials Ingram drop, and additional Trials reputation. And this is just for completions, reward completions, it says, by 3-person fire teams in Trials. And so it's
just match completions, period. You don't need to win.
Exactly. But to me, it's like that's just, I feel like the people who are playing trios or would play trios or have the friends to, they don't really care about, they just want the adepts. Like all this isn't enough to incentivize people to run trios to me.
But
yeah, I guess I guess if you, with the new card, it could be possible that maybe a group of PvE players are like, hey, let's get together because we can be in the 3 playlist. We can get like random weapon drops. We can get engrams. We can get reputation. And then maybe we'll work towards an adept weapon at some point. So maybe with those 2 changes together, it could incentivize those. But I do totally agree that the people who are currently actively wanting to play Trials, like our PvP players or are playing 3v3 playlists, this isn't going to make a difference to them. But maybe there are some friend groups out there who are PvE players that will then go into the 3s, which will then make the experience of people currently playing 3s a bit better.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it probably is mainly to address population increases, hopefully to that point, right? It's meant more for the casual groups that want to drop in, and don't forget about Fire Team Finder, and hopefully more encouragement and improvement there that you could say, I'm looking for a 3-person team, and to do it that way, right?
That actually is a good point. Fire Team Finder could be a big a big change there if people start
Boon.
using that for trials. A
Or-
boon. There you go. Nice. Well,
Yeah,
that's
but the jumping off the map thing, that's
ooh.
part of this, right? Which is pretty awesome.
Yes.
Simply jumping off the map or sitting in AFK and spawn will disqualify you from these bonuses. So, I mean,
That's good.
That's
good.
pretty wild too.
That's good.
Yeah, we don't need that. I want people to have fun, and now they can have fun a little more stress free because
Stress-free,
now
yeah.
you got the new passage, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well next up we got some game mode changes here. Their
We do.
3v3 Clash has been in labs and it's being added into normal rotation for 3v3s, but we've also got new game modes, a new King of the Hill type mode in labs.
King of the Hill.
Yeah.
I do like King of the Hill type modes.
Yeah, they're fun.
I would love to see them because this is currently a 3v3 King of the Hill. I would love to see them do a 6v6 one as well.
Yeah.
That would be
Or
chaos
a
and
Rumble King of the Hill. That feels like
Yeah, that would
Rumble
be
King of the
cool.
Hill is kind of the shit.
That would be a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. And along with that, another new mode going into labs called Hardware, which is weapons only, no abilities at all.
They're doing it. They're
They're
finally doing it.
A lot
I
of people
think
ask for it.
What's it called
a
again?
reason hardware.
Hardware.
I think one of the reasons that Bungie probably didn't want to do it is that if people end up liking it, it almost ends up being like a band-aid for all of the issues that are actually plaguing the sandbox. Like, well, why do we want weapons only? Because abilities have too much of an uptime, or they're too potent, or whatever it may be. So
That
I
kind
think
of
that's probably why they
myself.
resisted for so long.
bad. Like if you don't make the game fun because we're trying to protect like our work, like make the game fun. Worry about what comes later. Like make the game fun.
We'll see.
We'll see.
There's also a little twist to it too that they've got it says grab special and heavy ammo from crates located around the map and get to shoot.
We're back
boy.
to crates, baby.
yeah, back to
D1,
crates.
full
Heavy
circle.
crate is up. Third round.
Special ammo crate.
Third
is
round.
Special
Get
Should
ammo.
we
Truth
wave
out.
it? Should we wave it?
You wave it off. Teabag it off. I mean, I think it'll be great to test and just we just need like raw reactions from the community over it,
Yeah.
period, so like I joked, but like for real, nice problem to have. Worst case, everybody's like, this is great, and they got to deal with the other side, which they've been trying to deal with forever, is having all of the ability stuff. But for me, like, more modes and things to choose from if you can keep your playlist healthy in terms of population. Like, that's what it's about. Like when I go to play Halo, I was joking because I was thinking of King of the Hill there when I was trying to pull out that VO announcer's voice. When I play Halo, it's like so refreshing to see, like, there's so many modes, now there's Forge stuff, and I think that variety is really nice. And when I go to play Destiny, and having played it for a long time off and on, I don't know, I just go back, I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's anything new or that interesting. And it's funny that a mode without abilities seems new and interesting to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to something like that for me personally.
Well, speaking of Halo, that brings me to the next one. They're in final shape. They're giving more options to private matches. I know Halo, you just have tons of stuff, obviously, but Destiny's been pretty limited in their abilities here, and so they're adding ways to custom tune special ammo delivery cooldowns, reviving, respawning abilities, like all that stuff to private matches. And then on top of that, they've got modifiers such as Mayhem and Scorch. So right now,
Nice.
Mayhem and Scorch is like just a game mode, but now you could do like, we just want to play Rift Mayhem with my friends, and make it, make it crazy. So you can do stuff like that. So that's cool to see more options come to private matches.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they've added a little more tuning over a couple other things in there, it looks like. Special ammo delivery, ability cooldowns, reviving, respawning, and more. They said added more custom tuning. So what that entails, I don't think we have the details here, but you'll just be able to do a bit more. And like the fact that Fireteam, like I wouldn't have processed it unless they typed it, I guess, but like you can make private match modes and then leverage Fireteam Finder. So it's kind of, isn't it a bit of a loophole workaround to almost like, you know what I mean? Custom matches, but available through the Fireteam Finder, right?
That's so nice, because I remember back in like Halo 2 days, whenever somebody had just made a zombie mode that, you know, no one had really played yet, and you had to be friends of a friend to like get invited to that group to go play that game mode. And this is kind of like, you know, like you could be like, okay, I'm gonna set up this thing and just get some friends online, grab people from Fireteam Finder, be like, hey, I've got this custom mode, come join my game. That's pretty cool. I didn't see that part.
Yep. Yeah, and depending on if they add any tags that relate to this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
If people understand how to use them, you could find, you know, very specific setups. So could be interesting.
If you're a streamer, how easy would it be to use Fireteam Finder to get people in your chat into a game mode like this?
Easy, because you can set it to where you approve the person who joins. So you could.
It's a interesting thought, but since there's no, I think I know what you're thinking about, Briar, but I'm like, I think it would just be easier to invite them.
Yeah.
Okay. But wouldn't it be nice if there was like almost a queue, right? That's what I was maybe thinking. Like, imagine that people are just queuing up, and you don't have to do any work for it. But yeah, like Lego said, that would work too. Is like people could find it based on your tags, but you'd have random people joining in too that you'd have to manage.
Yeah. On top of all the private match stuff, I skipped over Checkmate is coming back, and it's closer to its original form. So they've made changes to it over time to bring over those changes into normal Crucible to test them out. But now that they've done that, they're reverting Checkmate like big time, 30% penalty on ability cooldowns, no starting with special ammo, melee damage not being increased, so you really got to use your weapons. And the primary time to kill values are shifted to be even higher. So yeah, it for people who like that mode, it's not going away. It's going back to its original form in labs, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then after all that, we got Sandbox stuff, which I'm not going to go over this because this is everything basically that y'all talked about last week.
Yeah, last week. And also, Firing Range is doing a one-off episode next week where they have Mercules coming in to go over a lot of the Sandbox stuff and the basically the last two TWABs. So
nice.
Yeah. You'll be able to get big in-depth stuff.
What is that? The 28th?
28th. Yep.
Nice. That'll be fun.
But yeah, if you missed any of that, I would remind it's a big change since we calculated it. I did it again, but 42.9% increase in your base health, and then they adjusted all these percentages on like grenades and melee. So like, there's a lot of like just base changes. You'll still be able to triple tap the map. We figured out, I think.
It's a big change.
But it's huge changes in just sort of your base health as well as your shield values.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll break it down in Fireteam Finder as well, like in more detail. But if you want a quick summary of like how it's actually changing things, Cool Guy did a video where he breaks down that basically it's like very short. It's like 14 minutes where he kind of goes over that. Basically, they fixed a bunch of resil checks that were really frustrating right now. Like you had to run high resil or else you were getting 3-tap by this thing or 2-tap head in one body, that kind of stuff. And they basically raised all the resil checks to where running low resilience doesn't hurt you as much now because you're basically the same as the 10 resil Titan for most of the time to kill values. So it's hard to see that from all these numbers, but when you break it down, that's what it ends up being. And there's even other interesting stuff. Like if you take it further than just primary weapons, like for the special weapon, 20% increase, that is really like 5% once you add it all together. It's just enough to, for instance, like fix fusion rifles. I did a video over this, but right now there's a lot of resil checks in your bolts to one burst somebody, and it's like, oh, you have to have high impact reserves or it's not worth running anything else. And now that with this damage bump, every single archetype is the same bolts to kill, no matter what resil they're running. It like just really standardized a lot of different things and made it to where it opened up the perk pool to where you don't have to run one thing. You could be like, oh, I could use this other perk. That's really interesting. So I'm approaching weapons in a different way than I used to because of these sandbox changes.
Yeah, I feel like, well, no, last week's update was so big, but I'm just going to read this in case it's new, but specific balance changes that they had highlighting weapon stuff, like limiting the uptime of Wish Ender's true sight ability, reducing sniper rifle aim assist, reducing flinched out by players in hand cannons. I guess we did see that. Reducing threaded Spectre uptime. Okay, now that I'm reading again, I guess that was a lot in last week. But a few of those still stood out as like, wow, yeah, there's just like so many changes.
It's nice to have it quickly bullet pointed here. Because last time it was like so much info about the reasoning why all this. Yeah.
I don't know if the final shape notes though with the sandbox.
Yeah, this is important.
Those are new.
Yeah. So that one, they just talk about they're working on reducing the dominance of Ward of Dawn and Well of Radiance. They want to improve the viabilities of supers with longer recharge times and objective game modes, but they'll have more to share on that as they get closer to final shape, which is probably like the number 2 thing people were kind of bummed about, is not seeing changes to Ward of Dawn and Well of Radiance in this update, because in Trials, it's just... it is pretty oppressive in a game mode like Dominance, where you have to and supers.
A little bit robot, but you'll be back soon, Lego. I believe it.
I don't know what's going on tonight.
See,
Jack, come back. Then there's after the final shape as well. They even note after it launches, we're also exploring UI updates to the obituary screen that would show the combination of players that killed you rather than just who dealt the final blow. Obviously, seem to be referencing PvP here.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think that's really cool. Because so many times you get hit with something from like, say you got hit with a fusion rifle bolt literally 50 meters away. Like that could happen. That could end you. And you're like, how did that happen? That's impossible. Well, you didn't know that a sniper rifle body shotted you from a different angle, and now it will show that, like, all the things that led to your death, or that's what they're working on.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see if it doesn't sound like it's going to be as complex as like a game like Apex, which has like a kill feed of damage and stuff. I don't know if you guys can think of any other games that do that, but that kill feed's pretty cool to see the exact damage from what gun and the player, I believe, that killed you. So you see like this feed like of notifications of how you died. It's like, oh, I got body shotted with this, and then shredded with this SMG to death.
I bet that's what they're going for. That's what this sounds like, anyway.
That's what, it sounded like to me. But every time I read it, I'm like, it sounds like they're not saying it's that much detail. But I don't know. Remains to be seen.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, somebody in chat's like, a kill cam would be nice. I mean,
me too. Yes.
As the game is unfolding, I mean, I don't know. It'd have to be really fast, I guess. But oh yeah, kill cams are always so great.
Yeah, kill cams are good.
Lego, you're getting pretty botted at the moment.
There's a lot of
Briar's still here.
I'm still here.
We don't know. He doesn't have his gal. I'm getting worried that we're being
left
targeted.
alone. We're left on the taking out DCP members.
EMP'd. Yeah.
Turning the camera off to see if it like helps improve the quality of.
About to be DC minus.
It's the automatons. They're launching an attack.
Automatons. Yes,
the automatons
have come for us. I hate to laugh, but we can't understand him, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Maybe just disconnect and reconnect. Maybe it'll help out.
It's always worth a try.
Matchmaking's get some changes too, huh?
Yeah. So when I was going through this, I was like, okay, So we've got rank-based matchmaking, open skill matchmaking, also known as connection-based matchmaking, loose skill-based matchmaking, outlier protection. There's a lot. And when I was going through it, I was like, this sounds like they're kind of just explaining a lot of stuff, but ultimately nothing's really changing. So I appreciate explanations, but it didn't end up with like, so we're bringing skill-based matchmaking is leaving and connection matchmaking is all it is. So yeah, it's a lot. We need Lego to give us the
Do you want me to read the
TLDR.
bullets from the update real fast?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Yeah, already live is replace the loose skill-based matchmaking in Iron Banner and Control with new outlier protection matchmaking system. That's already live. Updated competitive matchmaking to be rank-based. Currently testing several configurations of a new snake draft lobby balancer. I don't know what that is. I have no idea.
Bots, you might
But
have
coming
to
in
drag
this,
Lego back in. Sorry.
no, that's all right. And then in update 7.3.5, which is upcoming, we'll be updating our playlist tooltips to correctly display which matchmaking style is used for each mode. And then they said that they also have several changes planned for their ongoing experimentation with snake draft lobby balancing, which is aimed at improving how it handles fire teams.
Snake draft.
So I don't know what snake draft is. Maybe
Yeah,
Lego
what's
does,
a
but
snake draft?
Yeah. Snake draft is where it's like they explained it like the dodgeball rules, like when you're in school and they're like, okay, I want that guy. And then the next team's like, I want that guy. And it just takes turns back and forth between who gets to pick who's on their team. And so that way, instead of it pitting you, oh, you're the best player, let's stack like the entire, like all the best players beneath you on the other team. And it's just you and a bunch of low skilled players against a huge like squad of better skilled players, than the average.
Oh,
So instead of
interesting.
that, it's going to go one at a time.
That seems
And
smart. I mean, you'll still get into unbalanced teams either way, but
yeah, to me, it's more unfair because you'll end up in games where one side is stronger than the other, but it makes it to where you have like a nemesis on the other team. It's like that's the first pick on the other team, and you can tell who the high skill players are in that lobby, and they kind of go against each other, and it feels more like a pickup match you would see in any other sport, rather than just, hey, let's all like pile up against this one good player on the other team,
yeah.
which isn't very fun for either the low skill players or the good player.
yeah, and I think you were disconnected at the time. But Watts, what did you say? You felt like a lot of this stuff is kind of changing or will be
Yeah,
changing, but it kind of feels.
When I initially looked through it, I was like, I appreciate the explanations, but it
Yeah.
looks like a lot of explanations to ultimately say nothing's really happening. I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah, I was
That's what
curious
it
what
seems
I
like.
thought.
Yeah, I do think that's right. They're not really changing anything with matchmaking. They just explain it a lot more. They are
Yeah.
changing the snake draft lobby balancing, like they're trying to
Yeah.
make it better and better. But yeah, I appreciate at least that that explanation from loose skill-based matchmaking to this outlier matchmaking, where it's helping those, it's not being so strict with like the very top end and the very bottom end, and helping them find players and not making it just be sweat matches for either.
That's
So
good.
Yeah,
it's nice.
I was going to say, I have some stats from Outlier Protection. They say, here are some typical recent examples of our Outlier Protection stats. 25% of matches started with skill deltas of less than 500. 65% of these Outlier Protected matches started with skill deltas of more than 500 and less than 1,000. And only 10% of the matches started with skill deltas of more than 1,000. So
That seems pretty good, right? Like if I'm thinking about even like what I would consider loose skill-based matchmaking, it's like 65% of matches with a skill delta between 500 and 1,000 is a lot better than them all just being less than 500 for sure. So it's like the amount of sweaty matches you're getting that should be like quote unquote real sweaty, 25% of those would be that. And 10% are ones where you just get absolutely stomped. So the percentage distribution looks pretty good on paper from what I can see.
Yeah. Did y'all go over their goals, or not goals, but their things about what they don't do? Because I thought that was pretty interesting.
Oh no, yeah, hit us with that.
So because this is a common thing that people say, so they wanted to address some things that people say about their system. They said our matchmaking system does not individually force players to a 1.0 kill death ratio or 50% win ratio, which is something that a lot of people are like, I don't want to just win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. And they're like, no, we're not trying to force that. And then along with that, they don't intentionally allow players to dominate for a few games, then place them into games where they get destroyed. Which it does feel that way sometimes what they're saying. We're not intentionally
It must
doing
be
that.
true. It's happening to me.
And then the last one is they do not sacrifice connection quality for skill or any other filter. So connection is like highest priority always. And then our three most common matchmaking systems, outlier protection, rank based, and open skill, all keep average connection quality generally within the same bounds. In fact, outlier protection and rank based have on average slightly better connection quality than open skill due to the increased time they remain in the optimal connection bracket while searching for matches.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the information.
Yeah, I definitely am like, of course, I would love to see just complete no skill-based thing, but also I do, like, we've talked a lot, me and you, Watts, on this podcast about there should be some kind of outlier protection for those that are way on the extreme, you know? They said there has to be some version of protection within there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, and I originally had asked you that, Watts, to bring that comment up because I was like, it feels to me, as someone who's not playing a ton of PvP, it's like we just got to play it when it all rolls out, and especially with the new maps before you can really, like, it's good to get a preview, but like I don't think anyone can predict what all of this combined is going to really feel like once it all hits.
Plus, since we've had the outlier protection version of matchmaking that we have now, the player population's been pretty low. Like we didn't have this at the beginning of Lightfall. They were still working on it. So I'm really curious what it'll feel like when either in May, when all the new maps hit, or like you were saying, Fran, or just in final shape. Either one, I bet it's going to feel different than it does now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think final shape in particular, when you get that really big mix. But that's an interesting point, right? Is matchmaking is always going to feel a bit different around these huge launches, right? Because you get a huge influx of interest from multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns, and everybody comes in for a while, and then they depart, and it kind of goes back to the people who remain. They have been playing either 5 years or 9 years or 4 years, you know. So,
and to contextualize those numbers a little bit, if you look at the Steam charts, so when Lightfall came out, for example, it added 220,000 players to the peak. And then season is giving you about plus 50 to plus 30,000 players. And yeah, so we're currently sitting at a all-time 24-hour peak of 32,500 on Steam.
Yeah, I wish Bungie would share some update on like who's playing what, and like even if they have to like not give out specific numbers, but meaning like we don't know what that does to the PvP numbers or PvE, like it's all mixed in. It also doesn't include console numbers at all, obviously, and we really don't know. And I think it's something I brought up a lot. Other than like it's been many years when there was I think they gave some like, what was it, max number of people that had played the game ever kind of thing. But again, like I'm just curious how many people are playing Destiny, because like people, in other words, Steam charts is like a great like topical discussion, but it is not, you know, the whole number at all. It's not even close.
No, it just gives you like a small peek in the window of what's going on.
Like when people think about stuff, they see maybe it's like CSGO at the top of Steam charts. And it's like, guys, like Fortnite is the biggest game in the world, probably. We don't have the number, I think, in front of us, but it's like unique logins per month, per week, all these, whatever the number you want to share there is, because we don't have access to it. But I'm really curious where Destiny actually sits and where it's been. But But yeah, I do think that when these big expansions release, you get a pretty huge influx, as the
You
Steam
do, yeah.
concurrents
Yeah.
indicate. But how many millions are actually playing on a the month that these new expansions come out? That's what I want to know.
It would
I'm
be
going to be
interesting.
very curious about Final Shape because it's the penultimate of story of the 10-year saga, but it's also post Lightfall.
Yep.
So kind of a trend that we've seen is that numbers have actually been going up of new influx of players per expansion. So like the 2020 expansion, there was more in the 2021 expansion, and it's been going up and up and up and up. But Lightfall was like not a great a great thing in terms of keeping players around. So I'm very curious what Final Shape is going to be able to do with bringing players back. It would be really cool if a ton of people who haven't been playing for a while now come back, because it would be nice to see all the old folks playing again.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like trend wise, and based only on Steam numbers, is what I was getting at. Like, it's gonna beat the concurrence, just because like I just, as mad as people have gotten, or this didn't deliver this, like it is really, it's a decade of storytelling and
Yeah.
stuff, and like to imagine like a huge campaign plus fully PlayStation backed and all this, and it's just hard for me to imagine that it won't at least bring in a huge influx of players, plus with the free elements as well. So there's that. But what that really means is, again, when the people settle, who's left and what do they think of like week 2 and 3 and the seasonal content, and 'cause
right.
that's where
And
we come in.
and like for me, I've definitely gotten pretty apathetic with Destiny, and it's not, apathy is just like, it's not negative, it's not positive, it's just like
Yeah.
you kind of have to like show me what's up for me to want to invest a bunch of time in. But I definitely want to check out Final Shape. I want to experience what they're doing with the Pale Heart. I want to see the
Yeah.
raid. But then 2 weeks after that, I probably won't be playing for a little while.
Yeah. I always have to remind people, like, because there's so much negativity, again, after 10 years of like love and hate. But like, I am super excited for Final Shape.
Yeah, me too.
There's no way I'm not going to play, no matter
Yeah.
how much I'm even apathetic at times, to your point.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that's why I
Yeah.
think it will break these numbers. In Lightfall, like, people think I'm crazy. I'm like, that was my most played probably time in Destiny because of all the quality of life changes, the loadouts, the getting rid of affinities on like, solar and this type of armor. I'm like, man, I can finally just have my mods and et cetera, and like it just made it more fun and accessible. And now you have Fireteam Finder with all this stuff. So whether or not it delivers like exactly everything we wanted, and spoiler alert, it won't, because we always want way more than it has ever been able to deliver.
Yeah.
I'm really, really looking forward to it. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I will be playing.
They have such an opportunity here to keep a bunch of players who have both left and never played the game before. Like they always have new players coming in on these expansions, and they just have such an opportunity to grow the base and keep them here that they might not have again, because this is like the conclusion, as you're saying, to the 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
so many people want to see what happens here, and so they've really got they. I don't want to say they have to nail anything, because they'll just keep going whatever, but it's a huge opportunity to have a bunch of people stick around. And man, I just really hope that they actually bring something for new light players to like understand the story and like what is happening, like, because it's been missing for way too long.
Yeah, or even if that's missing, a way to quickly drop into the Final Shape campaign part of it and just play it without getting pulled in a bunch of directions, being like, what? Where is this on the map? Like, if they can just get people in for like, call it that 12 hours, that 15 hours, whatever it's going to be, without being like, what do you want me to do with the what? Because like where's my quest? Like, hopefully that, like, for real, right? Story aside, people are just literally like, what quest am I on? There's like 7 quests in this. I don't know what to do. And then they start asking their friends and they get frustrated. And then that's where you hear the bad stuff. So,
Yep.
I got a question for you guys. This is obviously, you just got to guess at this point, but
yes,
this is the end of the Light and Dark saga.
Yeah.
We know we're going to be fighting the Witness, but do you think we're going to get like concrete, like an end to the story of the Traveler? Or do you think that's just going to remain like mysterious ball floating in the sky for years to come.
Ooh. Like, will we get an actual kind of more explanation of the traveler and
Or like, will the traveler move on? Will the traveler leave? Will the
I
traveler?
don't think so.
No. I mean, we're not guardians
Yeah,
anymore, right? If the traveler leaves.
It's a
Yeah.
good question.
It is a good question.
Because like, how do you
I
have a
fe-
lend into the light and dark saga without at least some traveler explanations happening here?
I feel like they could do it. Yeah, I feel like they could do it because you've got to move on to some new concept at some point, and this seems like the time to do it. And in doing so, it would be satisfying to have it explained a little more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough. My lore is bad, as I always say, but I feel like we'd be better off, left with more of a conclusion there, so we can move on, like to kind of what Lego's saying, like whether the traveler like sort of is like, well, I'm dissolving into light, and we're just floating around you now, like, but I'm gone, but I'm sort of here. But you got to move on, Like, I don't know what the solution is there, because, like, as I understand it, I'm like, well, it seems like without the traveler and the power, like, how do we revive? And like, I don't know. But if it's gonna be an ending, I don't know. Yeah, probably better without it. I mean, I always think about Star Wars when I think about this stuff. And
I was thinking Force
like,
Ghost Traveler when you were talking. I was.
I think
like
honestly
Yoda
that was
sticking
it. I
around
sort
with
of
us.
pictured like the travelers like got arms and it's like waving to you and superimposed, and then like there's like Ewoks and stuff to. I guess that's what I want to have happen. And but then I guess that means episode 1 is coming after that. So
Well, that's the other thing, right? Is they have to.
Duel of Fates.
If they're ending this, part of it has to be starting the next thing, right? It has to.
So that has been a big topic of conversation this last week. If any of y'all have seen Grenadier Jake put out a YouTube thing of like, and a lot of people push back on it. A lot of people saying, yes, this is the way it is. But a big topic within that video was this is the last, like he believes this is the last big expansion like this that we're getting, or it seemed like it was a heavy possibility. And then a lot of other people that I was listening to was like, I think Scarrow was one of the ones. He was like, there is no way Bungie does not keep releasing big expansions because this is their moneymaker. Like, there's no way this is the last big thing. Like, they're not just going to drop and be like, well, we'll risk it all on Marathon now. We're just going to risk it on episodes whenever they're making so much money from even Nightfall, that didn't go over as well.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't stop anytime soon. I think the question remains of like, do you sort of just get some episodic content as they sort of maybe are working on that third big game, plus they get Marathon out the door and get a little footing from that. But you do have to remember, it's like, yeah, they've been around a long time, and like they didn't used to have to depend on like live service every day of the week. Mm-hmm. And they gave up Halo to do this, right? And moved on. And so there is a scenario where I assume if they're ever done with Destiny, they pass it on potentially, right? We've seen, in the past, what was it, Moon Studios, and they're no longer in the mix here. But like, there's also that, right? Like, hey, Destiny's still out there. We're still on the advisory board, and it's still happening. But like, what is their next thing beyond Marathon? Maybe that's not just an extraction shooter. I really wonder about.
Yeah, I wonder too. Well, there is one more thing, two more things really
like
with
Steve
the 12.
Jobs. One more thing.
We've got one more thing. No, and a lot of people are really excited about this. Cami Cakes in particular. They're doing some UI updates that are really big for if you're very competitive within Destiny. One is added the reticle location setting to console, because right now it's like not centered exactly, and so you can set it to center or below center, which is a big deal, a small thing, but a big deal. And then also, and this is the one that Cammy was freaking out about, is they added controller dead zone settings. So right now you try to like move your controller, you have to move it like 20% before your controller even registers that you're moving. And they're going to let you adjust those things in a controller setting menu now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
On
More
that
options
note,
are always good.
From the PC side of things, and I know there's zero chance of this happening, but I want the mouse acceleration that 343 has in Halo. Man, they did such a great job and detail with it. But it's a game changer for me. Like I joke that like it's the only reason I'm any good at Halo, but like anyway, mouse acceleration is underrated. I know most people don't understand it. It's a stigma, and they're like, "Ew, what are you taught? You're an idiot," you know. But like when it's done right, it doesn't do anything until you're literally just. I use it to look around, but when you're aiming, it's not. It's a curve, and it's dead per the dead zone. That's what I was thinking about. But honestly, it would change my enjoyment of PvP on a mouse and keyboard. It's not that I'm not like okay. It's just having to go from a little wrist movement to swinging around to like see where everybody's at. Man, I love it in Halo.
Have these like monster mouse pads, right? So we can like swing across the table.
Yeah, but yeah, it's and again, mouse acceleration when done right. Halo's one of the only popularized major franchises that's done it well. So man, I love whoever implemented that. It's such a great job. I would love to see it in like Apex, in this, and Valorant, and many others.
Yeah, I could see that being really something you'd want. There was one last thing there that with those UI settings, and that's added the ability to adjust the opacity of the radar background. So your radar.
Oh, that's good.
Top. Yeah, kind of cool stuff here.
Yeah, that's good. And
then the final kind of last thing of the TWAB here that they're changing and adding and taking away in update 7.3.5 is they are changing stuff with the prophecy dungeon. I don't really understand why this is happening. I feel like it has to do something with the 9, Trials of the 9 or something, because they're removing a Swift Verdict sidearm, the Long Walk sniper rifle, and the Last Breath auto rifle, which were all Trials of the 9 weapons, if you remember. And so they're removing those from the dungeon, but they're adding an origin trait to all the weapons that are there, changing the perk pools of everything that's still there, which is Judgment, Darkest Before, and a Sudden Death. And then they're also adding new weapons of Prosecutor auto rifle, Adjudicator, submachine gun, and Relentless pulse rifle.
The pulse rifle was always really good.
Mm-hmm.
It was always a good one. And it is being changed to Strand as well. The pulse rifle.
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple of energy changes. There's some weird ones in there too. Like there was one even in the weapons that are staying, the Darkest Before is changing from arc to solar, which is just really weird. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Guess wanted to add ignition to it.
It may have something to do with, like I was saying, I think Prophecy, maybe it's totally free now. I've lost track. It used to rotate or something, but maybe it just has to do with because this is related to free. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, their origin trait's pretty cool for the weapons that are staying in the new ones. It's called Crossing Over. These weapons have increased range and handling for the top half of the magazine, while rounds from the bottom half of the magazine deal increased damage. So useful origin trait. A lot of times they're not useful, so that's nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it here.
There we go. Thanks for summarizing it all. It was a big one. Big TWAB.
It was big and I read a lot, so my camera started glitching a bunch. I'll just blame it on the giant TWAB.
Overloaded the camera sensor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the March 5th update should shake things up quite a bit. Should be quite a big shakeup.
Agreed. I'm very excited to try it all. The PvP sandbox, just playing PvP is going to feel entirely different, and
It will feel very different. Yeah.
I want to encourage people too. I got some comments on a recent video that were like, at March 5th, I'm never touching Crucible again. Like people are that like, I want my space magic. I want my special weapons. Like I'm surprised how many people are like, I'm just not going to touch it. And like, y'all, like you can't just look at your food and be like, that's gross, I'm not going to eat it. Like you at least want to try it because maybe it's the best thing you ever tasted. You just got to try it first. And a lot of people are also saying, well, this is like D2 year 1. I already tried that. And like, this is not D2 year 1. This is completely different. So I say just try something new. We've had this game for so long. It's so nice to get something fresh. We honestly needed something fresh, regardless of whether I even like it or not. I'm just glad to have something fresh.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So
Destiny.
Yes.
No matter how hard Fran tried to stop it,
This is going to be a lie.
We finally got the Shadow of the Erdtree trailer.
We got the trailer.
Yeah, whatever. I
And
called
we
it, dude.
got the release date. And you know how everyone's like, man, Elden Ring and FromSoft are really hunting down Horizon? They're not. They're hunting down Destiny. It was Destiny all along. Because Elden Ring initially came out 3 days after Witch Queen. It is going to be a little bit better this time. It's coming out on June 21st. And the final shape comes out on June 4th. So if you are someone who enjoys Destiny and Elden Ring, you will have enough time to delve into at least what is available at the beginning of final shape. You'll get a reset and you're probably going to be able to do the raid because raid's normally 10 days after. So you should be able to experience a good amount of final shape before Shadow of the Erdtree comes out.
Yeah, the raid would be a week
to be
before.
Trying to go outside and experience what little of the summer I'm going to get to experience before Erdtree
You can touch grass, dude?
Yeah, because I know that I'm about to spend a month sitting inside just like glued to that thing.
June 21st.
June 21st, it is coming out. We got Miyazaki did a bunch of interviews along with the trailer. We spent yesterday 3 hours-ish going through the trailer, looking at everything, talking about the lore, what it means, reading the interviews. Yeah, it was really fun. It's really, really fun.
It's $40 as well, worth noting, right?
It is $40, yeah. So a couple of things that we do know is Miyazaki was asked about how big is it, and he said that it's about similar or slightly larger than Limgrave in terms of like the area that it covers. So that is about the size that you can expect, although that only really tells you like the surface level of where things are going to be.
Yeah, you know he's kind of lying on
We
top of
don't
it
know
all,
if
too,
is there going to be an underground in the Shadow Realm. We don't know. Oh, it's also, we do know that you do travel to the Shadow place through the Land of the Shadows by touching Miquella's hand in the cocoon. So in order to get to the DLC, they mention this in the Japanese interview, but none of the English ones. You have to defeat Radon and you have to defeat Moog. And then you're good.
So what if you started New Game Plus, but you haven't gotten that far yet in your New Game Plus? You got to get that far?
Yes.
In the New Game Plus. Okay.
Yes.
Well, but actually, I wanted to ask that, though. But when you go into New Game Plus, your map is open, right? So you shouldn't.
Oh, do you have everything?
Yeah.
Well, then you should be good.
Yeah, like I actually double checked that today because I was thinking about it. I saw a few of those responses. I'm like, am I crazy? I'm like, I have what would the incentive for me of New Game Plus to not be able to go back to all of my rest points and stuff?
True.
So anyway, I'm quite sure unless I didn't start New Game Plus for some reason, but I'm pretty sure that I did. But
my character is right at the end, post final boss, not New Game Plus, because I remember I went to New Game Plus. I was like, yeah, I'll do New Game Plus. I defeated like 3 bosses and I was like, I'm not gonna have fun with this until like New Game Plus 7. This is so easy. It's so boring. So yeah, then I just reverted my save back to post final boss. So I'm level, I think 175. I don't have any more ways to respec, and I am using a mushroom head poison rot build, so we'll see how that goes.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be big regardless. Like the first game was just so massive to begin with.
Is Limgrave the whole world?
No, that's
you're not in Limgrave.
No, but you said you were comparing the size of it.
Oh no, it's the first area.
It's just the first
before
area.
Stormvale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like very confident it's gonna have a lot of underground and a lot, but then as well on top of all of that, the dungeons or whatever you call them, the caves,
the legacy dungeons.
Well, just meaning all of the caves and stuff you'll be going in and out of in that area. But there's that's what's so crazy about Elden Ring is not only as big as it is, but all of the layers. It's just a massive game. Granted, the dungeons did share. In some cases they were like kind of similar looking, but it worked out fine because of the bosses.
We have confirmation that there will be 10 new bosses. I'm going to assume that those are those are new bosses. And like you just said, Fran, in Elden Ring, like they reuse some stuff for dungeon bosses. So That's 10 new bosses. There's also going to be 8 new weapon categories. Not 8 new weapons. 8 new weapon categories. Like
That's awesome.
a dagger and a longsword or a greatsword. There are new weapon categories. And we saw in the trailer that one of them is you can literally just throw hands now. You're kicking and punching like a martial artist. There's also
Yeah,
another
there was like a
weapon type
ninja
that's
attacking you too in one of the trailers or in the trailer.
yeah, and you can also throw daggers. That is a weapon category, just throwing daggers. There was one that was like
Nice.
a pole blade that had a shield on it, and you could put it together or decouple it. So
Oh,
there's
like a
going to be a
trick weapon from
lot of new ways to
Bloodborne?
play. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Playing new weapon categories is crazy because then there's a bunch of new weapons within the categories. So that's why new categories are always exciting because it's a whole new way to play. The DLC itself is the main character is called Mesmer, which we don't know anything about from the base game. But
Probably
he
maidenless scum.
is confirmed to be essentially confirmed to be one of the children of Marika. And the reason that he's in the art sitting on the throne is because they really wanted to show that, hey, Mesmer is the same level as all of the other demigods. He's up there. So our running
Where's he
theory,
been?
because if you look, well, he's in the Shadow Realm.
oh,
And so there's been a couple interesting things. There was so he's called Mesmer the Impaler. There's a ghost right outside of a dungeon called the Impaler Dungeon, where the ghost says, "Oh, Marika, he is your forgotten child," or something. Which is
she
very
forgot
interesting.
about a child.
I don't know. I don't know the exact
She
wording.
left
Forgotten,
left him at
abandoned, whatever.
Walmart.
Well, so if you look at
Yeah,
Mesmer
I have so
has
many
a
more.
dragon eye. He's got dragons all over him. He's got snakes, and he uses fire. So he kind of has all of the iconography of everything that is anti-Golden Order. So in my theory is that the Shadow Realm is almost where they kind of put everything they don't want you to see. Hide all the stuff in the shit. That's my running theory as of right now. We know that it's not timey-wimey stuff. Miyazaki already said it's not set in the past. It's not the future. It is a different realm. So we do know that.
Sweet. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, based on Elden Ring, it should be pretty awesome. I don't have many doubts.
It's going to be incredible.
So yeah, like anything, I think in some people's minds, your expectation is like, oh, I'm gonna get an Elden Ring sequel practically, and it's like, well, let's remember it's an expansion, but like it's
an expansion, but it is their largest expansion.
But yeah, I was gonna
and
say,
their most
like,
expensive.
Elden Ring surprised so much. Like I kept playing and just had to keep. I basically wanted to get everything so I could like make whatever builds I wanted, and like there's so much to explore there. After over 420 hours, I still am like I barely scratch the surface of like using all the stuff that I spent all this time getting. But I would just constantly be like, it'd be hour 370 whatever, and I'd be like, what? This is here this whole time, and like it shocked me how big the game is, but. I have no doubts that this will deliver. But like when you pair it together with, I just guarantee like so few players, and I'm sure I missed stuff. Like there's no way you saw like there's so much to see in the first place. So tacking this on, it's most likely just an incredible value regardless. So
it was
big, speaking
though.
of
it was so densely packed. Like there's so many games that are big, but there's so few that just like it feels like every time you turn around a corner, you're like, what's this? I'm gonna go check this out, and it ends up being interesting. Like there was one time where I was just like wandering around this field, and all of a sudden I ran into this whole like crazy person's order thing, picked up some new powers, and it set me on like a whole new quest that ended to the end of the game.
Yeah, yeah. It was a game I constantly, I think, used the term wondrous. I was like, I just kept turning corners, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And that continued on and on and on and on. So
unbelievable
game. Can't wait to see.
Speaking to the size of the DLC, in one of the interviews, Miyazaki was saying that he thinks that Elden Ring, an integral thing to Elden Ring, is just how expansive and massive it is. So if he was going to make a DLC, it has to also be expansive and massive. So it's gonna be quite large.
Awesome.
Another little tidbit is that we are following. So Marika is in the Shadow Realm, and this is actually where she became a god. So we're kind of, I assume, going to find out why and how she became a god. And Mikola is following Marika, and Mikola is actually going to be the one guiding us. So like we had the golden light guiding us in the land between, Mikola is going to be guiding us in the DLC.
Oh.
Yep.
Wait,
it's going to be very good.
I guess it depends on what ending you got. No, aren't we maidenless?
Yeah.
Like in every ending? I guess. Well, the ending.
I only had one ending that I did. I did a naughty ending, I think.
Are you confused about who Mikola is?
Who, me? No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm wondering, because there was that like kind of story where our maiden. I don't remember our maiden's name. What was her name?
Melina.
I was wondering if the DLC would deal with our breakup at all.
So right at the beginning of the trailer, I'm pretty certain that is her standing there in Moog's palace, and then right at the end of the trailer, she says like we'll meet again soon or something.
Okay, because that was super ominous.
I think she will be involved. In that.
Okay, I can't wait. I'm not gonna watch anything about this. I'm just gonna like.
It's gonna be incredible.
Like no look. I like the monkeys like covering their eyes, their ears, and their mouth. Just I don't want to know anything about this until June. What is it? 21st.
21st.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's the best way to do it.
How much is it?
I never.
$40.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That's not that bad.
The problem is, Brian, it's difficult to do that these days.
I know.
It's like to not, especially when you have a podcast, right? It's difficult too when you get stuck in like a movie theater or something, and there's like a trailer for something you're interested in. You're like, I know I'm gonna love this, but I can't. I don't want to know anymore. And you're just looking down.
What's going on in my popcorn bucket?
Yep.
Oh,
Stick your head in your Dune 2 popcorn bucket.
Oh,
what's going on with this Dune 2 popcorn bucket thing? This
have
is
you not seen it?
I've heard about it today.
I have seen it. Yes.
Oh, you need to Google it, Brian.
You haven't seen it?
You do have
now.
to look at it. You have to look at someone attempting to put their hand in it to get popcorn. That's what you need to see.
Yep. Oh gosh.
We need an Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree popcorn bucket. What would that be?
What
could be
the
this
hell?
cocoon?
It's
I guess
a sandworm.
Could be this cocoon. Yeah.
Is
Pretty
it
gross,
though?
dude.
Cocoon.
Yeah.
It's being sold on eBay for about $50 too.
You don't want to butter it up and stick your hand in there, Briar?
No, I'm tempted. It looks like the world's scariest fleshlight.
There you go.
Wow. That was the last thing that would have gone through my mind. But now that you say it, I think you were right. And yeah, some freaks that are going to be using that.
Is this just at the premiere? Like, how do you get this thing?
I don't know if it was like, yeah, I think it was one of those like, yeah, for special premiere stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want one, so I don't know how you get it.
You haven't researched this?
I mean,
I saw a video on the internet about it.
Oh. I do want to go see that movie though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Lego, you're saying somebody got banned from Destiny this week. What was going on with that?
Yes. So Cruz got banned from Elysium. So this is a 4 times world champion raid race person we're talking about here. And it has blown up, very controversial because he's been very transparent about everything that has happened, because he's like, hey, look, what happened was I was using this other program for a different kind of game altogether that's outdated to just give us currency, because we can't get currency in that game the way that we should, or get stuck on a level or something. And so it wasn't even for Destiny, but it was a program that Bungie had deemed able to manipulate memory stuff. And that's why it picked it up. Yeah, so like a cheat
it's a program that kind of deals with the economy and some like strategy game.
But the thing is if you like really like read into it, it does that. I was reading some descriptions from people smarter than me saying that it doesn't it didn't have the possibility of hacking Destiny like other things. Like it didn't have that program didn't have the authority to go that far into whatever access you need to change Bungie stuff just for that other game. But Cruz appealed it, and Bungie got back with him and said, no, we're upholding our ban. This is for real. And once they give a response, there's no more action you can take to appeal. And so it's blown up on Twitter of everyone like, hey, like clearly he wasn't using this. He's like an upstanding citizen, revert this. And then you got people on the other side that are like, it's like you should know better than to have a program like this, and just because you're popular you're going to get it reverted, but not like how you need to go back and revert everybody else who got banned for situations like this. And so that is the controversy online right now, and that's kind of what's going on.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's the thing of like he wasn't using cheats for Destiny 2. He had a thing running on his computer that is against their TOS, I guess you could say. It's against their TOS to have that in general. So yeah, there's two camps of like, yeah, but clearly it's not like a Destiny 2 cheat.
But Destiny's
but then others are
anti-cheat
like,
software
but it's
found it.
against TOS.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe you brought up the more important point. It's like, if it can be exploited and other people have been banned, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you have to either allow it and unban everybody, or not. You can't give special treatment to just one person. So
that's difficult.
How do you deal
but then
with
again,
that?
like, it's like, just because
sucks.
like,
I mean,
if you were wrong about something, you know, but you wronged a lot of people and you have the chance to like unwrong someone,
True.
you would like, isn't that the right thing to do to like
Yeah.
fix your wrong, even if you know there are lots of other people who have been wronged, and you should go out there and figure out a way to help them too. But like,
yeah, and
it's tough.
my counter to this though was going to be of like, didn't this like just happen, right? It's not like it happened during World's First. Like, what?
Also, a point about World's First is before they announce the winners and give them all the stuff, they check to see if they have any cheat stuff on them. So
Right.
he's won 4 times and he's been checked 4 times.
Yeah,
Right.
So.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, can't they, you know, as a counter to saying, well, you can't give special treatment, but in this case, it's like, there's no like, what would the potential impact be? Like, what couldn't they have dealt with it, kind of call it privately, and just sort of like, oh yeah, like you cannot have this installed if you're playing the game, get it out, but we're gonna give you this, you know, maybe because again, like, what I'm trying to imagine, what is the impact that he'd be cheating at PvP or something? Because otherwise, what would it matter?
Yeah.
I mean, I may not understand what people use this stuff for, but I'm trying to imagine in a non-World's First race, like, what are you even using it for that would matter? And if he's not playing PvP, can't you just figure that out? Even if he was, like, anyway, I don't understand the nuance there, but
I definitely do. So the problem is so many people are scared to use mods and stuff, and Cal just put, like, the specific thing with this is it's a 10+ year old RTS game, and the thing that he's using is something that makes it run better and makes parts of it better than the original.
Yeah.
So you can't play 10+ year old games and have a mod or whatever it may be change the game because you can get banned on Destiny. And the counterpoint that people will say is that, well, you have to close that before you open Destiny. Like, you have to make sure it is closed and fully off the running at your computer at that point. But it's like, man, it really does suck to see someone get banned for not doing anything wrong in Destiny.
Yeah.
It really does. He's played the game for 10 years. You know, he's won 4 times World's First.
And on top of that, like, you talk about being scared to play these other games, like, and use these tools to play them in a way that's more fun. I, like, as someone who doesn't PC game very much, like, I have Destiny and like PUBG, like, those are like the things I play when I want to on PC. And so, like, I legitimately, with how many people have been banned or wrongly banned, or for things that are like unconsequential to Destiny, it makes me afraid to open Destiny on my PC. Like, and that, you know, like that's not a good place to be. You don't want to like, I don't want to play the game over here because I'm like afraid. What if I had something running that I didn't know about affected this or that? And maybe that's a naive thing to say, you know, like maybe it's like you have to be really intentional to have that stuff. But from the outside in, that's what it feels like.
It makes me wonder how the anti-cheat works in Destiny, right? It's like, is it developed by Bungie, or is it like a third-party piece of software that they license?
Well, there's BattlEye, right?
BattlEye, yeah.
Okay, and then how does that work? Does it just scan for all known cheats on a computer? Does the cheat have to be running, or can it just be on the computer? Like, does it know where to look on a computer? Like,
Well, that's a second thing to this whole conversation is people are saying in other games, BattlEye is set to tell them like before they open that game, like if they were to open Destiny and they had that thing running, this particular program, the game would say, or BattlEye would give you a warning like, hey, you have this program up, you know, like it's probably not for this, just letting you know before you start up the game. Or like won't allow you to start at the game or something like that. And Destiny doesn't have that.
I would really like
doesn't have
that to be a thing. I saw some people saying that, oh, so you want people who are cheaters to have a pop-up saying, hey, we detected a cheat thing on your computer. But I feel like just going from permanently banning a person, cannot fight it at all for something unrelated to Destiny that they probably didn't know was a thing that could trigger it just feels very extreme.
Yeah.
It does feel extreme to me.
yeah.
And you
Yeah,
were
that
saying, Briar,
sucks.
didn't this just happen recently? The only thing I wasn't thinking of a cheater type thing that happened, but there was. Well, I guess it was like banned for cheating. Is the guy who made D2 Gunsmith, who does not run it anymore because of that whole incident. So yeah, this sort of thing is happening. It does hurt. It's difficult because like this hurts the community in this way, and people are like I don't trust this system. But then again, you've got the other side of all these players playing trials that are like, do something about the cheaters, get on the cheaters, and where is that line? How do they manage that?
Yeah, like I do wonder, like, there's no way for Bungie to log, like, was a cheat actually used? Like, was anything modified in game? But
that's what I was getting at. If there is no world's first, and like you could just check the history of either they're suddenly having a bunch of new materials or not, you know, like I don't know how complicated it is though, but I assume it's more about like you were originally saying. It's like, well, we'd have to review all of these other people. But I mean, I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe that is the solution, though, is they say, like, look, we can't do this. It's not realistic to review individually. If you break the TOS using this stuff, that would mean we'd have to review thousands of claims. We can't do that. But in this case, because he's a world first, we have. And to tell people, maybe that would be a solution, to say, yes, he is getting special treatment, but that's because we don't have the manpower to review it normally. I mean, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but maybe that would be the solution, is to come out and say, look, we do, you know, appreciate all that he's done as part of the community and the wins. And like, we don't do this, but in this case, we're going to do it. You know, and
especially with
people,
the checks that you were saying, like the 4 checks that he's already had done on him, like that even doesn't seem like special treatment. That's just like facts. Like we've just checked these things already, and other people haven't had that happen, and that's why we can do it this time. Yeah.
But again, I'm still trying to imagine what could, if it just was happening now, if that was the concern, what could have possibly been going on in the game that it was so grave for this to be a problem, you know, cheating in trials, you know, right? That's probably the only thing I can think of. And I'd be curious, like, was he playing trials like for, 12 hours a weekend? But even if, that doesn't mean, right, that there was a problem. But anyway, that sucks.
That does suck. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad.
Should we do some Twitter questions?
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. But yes, we should.
All right. Beerus0313 says Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox! Thoughts on eating while driving? That's a
Oh,
what a total shift.
I
yeah.
do it.
He's just
I do
excited.
it.
He's because there's a lot of people who only have an Xbox and they've really wanted to play Final Fantasy 14 and they finally can.
That's
It's been
great.
a long wait.
I'm
It's
glad.
awesome.
I was
Yeah.
only focused on the eating while driving
Oh.
part.
Sorry, no.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, I totally do it, but it's not a great idea.
People would be shocked and appalled at the activities I do while driving, including
You
my
got one of
wife.
those-
I have started driving my wife to work, back and forth. I drive her to work and I pick her up because they knocked down her parking garage and now it's like changed her commute to be like 45 minutes to an hour as opposed to like 15 minutes. So until they fix that, I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'll drive you.
Well, as long as you don't have one of those Dune popcorn buckets in there, I don't care what you're
I'm
doing.
about to get one. I'm ordering one off eBay right now. But
Extra butter.
I watch YouTube videos while I'm driving.
Yeah.
I'm driving, 100%. I do all sorts of shit.
You listen to, right, Briar? That's what you mean?
I mean, look.
Never.
Have you used
driving
modern
somewhere with
cruise
Briar.
control? Like, it's so good.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't, to be fair. Yeah. Hope
I mean,
he's got a
cars
self-driver.
practically drive themselves now.
Well, maybe they could drive your wife to work from the sound of it. Pretty close.
Let's see here. Rick Vernhoot says, pick one character from the Destiny universe and take them out for a drink and a meal. Who, where, and what beverage, and pick for someone else on the show.
Oh,
Look, that's hard, and it's gonna take a bit. But, like, I mean, my pick is Cade, especially now that he's coming back from the dead. Like, look, what happened out there? Like, what'd you see? Was it just darkness? Were you in the fields of Elysium? Like, what happened? I want to know. It's gonna be great. Also, he's kind of the most fun character in Destiny.
Yeah.
Shax would be fun too.
oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think so. I would like to speak to either Drifter or Eris. Eris, I just want to know, like, if she's, assuming she's comfortable to do so. Tell me about her
Eris is
experiences.
one of those people that you say,
What's
"How
been
was your
like.
day?" and they fucking tell you.
No, she hasn't opened up to anyone except Drifter like this whole time.
You gotta
And
tell you
Crow,
all
a little
her
bit.
problems.
If we ignore her lore, yeah, we can say she does that.
I would pick for Briar to go with Drifter just because I think the conversations that I would hear afterwards would be so good to pick for somebody else. That would be my pick. But
There's a lot of good shows. I think I would take Zur out for ramen because I want to see what
Oh.
happens when he tries to eat
That's gonna be
noodles.
messy.
Like, what happens? I just want to know.
I don't predict you eating a lot during that.
Maybe not.
I'd take Anna Bray out. Anna Bay.
All right.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Smart play.
Aang says, "How do you guys feel about hearing that this console generation will be coming to an end soon?" Wait,
Oh,
what?
man. When? They're responding to Sony saying that PlayStation 5 was, I'd have to get the exact quote, entering its later stages or something. But that's not like, you're looking at years before there's a PlayStation 6.
Yeah. What-
Yes.
Generally,
The
it's
Pro
like
isn't
7
even here
years or
yet.
so. We're starting year 4.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like let's just assume that they're planning on a 7-year cycle still, right? GTA comes out early, or does it have the release date next year? No.
No,
But
it's
next
just
year.
Next year.
Yeah, but it comes out next year. And then like that's going to have a few years sort of running. I mean, yeah, you're looking at late 2027 probably.
Is this stemming
Early.
from the Sony was it Sony CEO or somebody who is like we're getting close to the end of the lifespan of the current
Yeah.
generation or something like that.
Yeah.
Latter stage of its life cycle.
There we go.
Yeah, Phil Spencer said that they were starting to develop the next one too, right?
Yeah, and they always are. I mean,
Yeah,
they
they
start
got
as
to.
soon as they stop, And it's actually, here's the quote. Looking ahead, PS5 will enter the latter stage of its life cycle. Looking ahead. They even said it's not even now, by the way. So that's
Yeah,
like
that's
the
good.
way news happens. So anyway, most likely late 2027. So I don't feel anything. I'm like, all right, we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But that
I
being
don't feel
said,
like they've
I'm
really like tapped these things either.
yeah, but as a tech fan, I will say I'd be more than happy if it was quote cut short. Let's say it was late 2026, but like with frame generation tech and all that, like this stuff released with ray tracing and everything was starting to happen. And so it'd be a nice benefit. At the same time, the longer you can wait it out, even the better implementation. So like, you win either way. But I will say, like, I'm really worried about even when Switch is coming out at its price point, because it's probably not going to have like DLSS 3 in it. And it's like, that's the frame gen tech that would really help. But anyway, stuff like that would make huge differences. And like, what is it? Path tracing and all this stuff that's come out. Building that into the hardware would be incredible. But it's going to be a wait.
Like when I look at the difference between PC games and PS5 and Xbox 4 games right now, I am not blown away by the power of the PC. Yeah, you're getting better frame rates, but like toward the end of the PS4 and Xbox One generation, it was like night and day.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, have you checked out? Do you have a nice rig that you check out Cyberpunk with max like path tracing and?
Yeah, I mean Cyberpunk.
That's in particular, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
That is night and day. It's like incredible.
I mean,
Alan Wake.
I played that on
really
the Xbox One, and it was really night and day.
Yikes!
Did you play though? Is that what happened?
Yeah,
yeah, and I had fun.
Oh, nice.
One of the rare ones.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like these consoles still have some legs in them, is what I mean to say.
Yeah, agreed.
Especially for first party games.
Yeah, again, if you look at the quote, it's like being taken out of context, and it's most likely end of 2027. So whatever that means to you, if that's soon.
And as a giant nerd, I always am looking forward to the next thing. Like, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to the new Switch. I can't wait to see what that's going to be. But PS5 and Xbox, not in our rush. Right?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready for Dreamcast 2, personally. It's time. It's time.
Sam says, what are your 3 favorite games to suggest that people play? Oh.
Play Monster Hunter World if you are in the Destiny community at all.
Yeah.
There's so much there that you would enjoy. You've got loot chases, you've got the loot drops in the terms of you get monster parts and then you can craft whatever you want. There's so many builds, so many different play styles, so much content. Like there was a reason that there was a big kind of exodus of Destiny players when it came out in 2018, and you just saw so many Destiny people playing Monster Hunter World. It was crazy. There is quite a lot of crossover in terms of what Destiny players like.
Yeah,
it's a lot there.
Honestly, like Cyberpunk, we mentioned. I tell everybody that they got to check out, Cyberpunk 2.0 with Phantom Liberty. I've been preaching. It's just incredible.
I still haven't played that. I gotta get to it.
Dang it, Briar.
I know. I love the first game. Like I love the original.
Oh, dude, it's so like if there's.
I'm
telling you, like for real.
That Briar is to Fran as Fran is to me.
Because I won't play Monster Hunter.
No, you won't play any games I want you to play.
No, that's not true.
You're like, oh, Fran, come on, let's get off of Diablo. Go play this other game. Like,
I'm
no,
gonna
I
play...
have to do 200 hours.
What is it? No Rest for the Wicked? I'll be all over that.
Good. Okay, that's good. I'll accept.
Same page.
Accepted
I knew
terms.
that would be an Alv branch. But like multiple games that like you have to check out. I mean, it's a great question if you look across the time. I'm trying to think of like some classics, like whether it's like BioShock or
BioShock is a good one. If you've never played that, that's fucking amazing.
It is.
Yeah. BioShock would be way up there.
Yeah.
Elden Ring is one of them.
Portal 2, Portal and Titanfall 2, Titanfall 2 for the campaign.
Titanfall 2 is a great shooter campaign.
There was one
Titanfall
more.
2 like got past a lot of people too.
Yeah, like The Last of Us or something. Honestly, PT would probably be on my list. Even though it's just a demo.
Demo experience. Good luck playing that
It's so
one.
good.
Honestly,
Castlevania would be
Elden
on my
Ring, man.
list. Yeah,
Elden Ring. Play
Elden Ring
Elden
is
Ring.
definitely on my list. Like, if you haven't played Elden Ring yet,
Well, because it's also a game where a lot of people are like, oh, I've never been able to play a Souls game. I can't finish them. And it's like Elden Ring, everyone can finish Elden Ring. Like you could level so crazy and finish it.
I don't know. I'll be honest. Like that came to my mind too, Watts. Like not only because we were talking about it tonight, because again, it's so incredible, but like I heard so much of the same inaccessibility. I tried. Like it's brutal, right? In the beginning.
I'm going to assume that
meaning
those people fought the dude on the horse and were like,
yeah,
this is too
of
hard.
course
And then they
but
quit.
like they don't know where to go. But my point is, I would love to put that on the list, but I know that reality-wise, it's still like convincing them to get past Stormgate Castle or whatever it's called. I just know like they're not going to do it, and they're going to think that it's brutal. But if you could, it's worth it.
It's easy.
I was going to say like Super Mario Galaxy 2 or 1 or so. Like something in the Super Mario realm where it's just like so amazing.
Link's Awakening for the Game Boy, I actually think is a fucking good one, and they remade that for the Switch.
Yeah,
and I think that's one that I think that got past people. That I think is an amazing game. The Switch version of it had some like weird frame rate issues, but it looks so pretty. It looked like you were playing with toys. Man, this is like I could think about this for the next week.
Yeah. 3. The reality is there's not only 3.
Yeah.
There's a ton. If you worked it into a top 10, that alone would be super challenging.
Yeah. There's so many games that I feel like if I knew you haven't played it, then I would recommend it. You know what I mean? Like
right. Yeah.
Like Super Metroid. Like if you've never played Super Metroid, you should totally check it out because it's going to change the way you look at like every other Metroidvania for the rest of your life.
Yeah. This
is making me realize we need a letterboxd for video games, like where you can just like rate them and
What's a letterboxd?
Put them in your top 10. It's like for movies where you can categorize all the one that you've watched and kind of say you can create lists like these are my favorite horror movies, these are my favorite action movies, but it also helps you catalog like I have seen these ones, this is what I thought about it. You have little notes and you can rate it yourself. It's pretty cool.
I've never used it. Letterboxd with a D at the end.
Yeah. And some directors actually, Mike Flanagan, who did Hill House and that whole series, he has his own Letterboxd account that he like shares his lists of like these are the movies that I watched and this is what I like, and so it's pretty cool.
I'd have to look at what they do, but you know what's funny is IGN did their playlists, so they do have IGN playlists where you can create custom playlists of stuff you've played. It has objects like this has, and so it might be something in that vein.
Check it out.
How many times have you guys been watching a movie like on Netflix or like Amazon Prime or something like that, and you're like halfway through the movie, you're like, wait a minute,
I know this.
I've seen this before.
Listen,
that hasn't happened to me.
Never.
When you
really,
I just am always behind, so I'm never rewatching something that I don't. You know what I mean? I would pretty much know.
This is the curse of a family that freaking loves horror movies and will watch bottom of the barrel B movies till there is nothing left. And so you end up scraping the bottom of the barrel and you just forget. You're just like, this one, it's kind of like every other haunted story. And then you're like, wait a minute, I know the twist at the end of this one. It happens all the time, bro.
Wait a minute. My wife will walk into the room like, haven't you seen this before? I'm like, oh. Uh-oh. Maybe. I lost my place. I'm sorry. Give me just a second. Deletus Kell of House Yeet says, hey, DCP, always love the show. I wanted to ask you guys, like, what you guys like for music. For me personally, it's a wide variety, but I always fall back into the 2000s rock alternative. Love the show and hope you guys have a fantastic day.
I'd have a lot to say here. So I'm going to let you go first.
There is no music genre that I don't like something out of. Like, there's nothing. Like I only just watched Beyonce's country, what's it called, Texas Hold'em? Her country
Texas Hold'em,
song.
yeah.
I watched the video for that. I was just as big a fan of the video as I was of the song, but the song was really good.
The song is, yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah.
Some country music stations don't want to play it. Don't know why that would be, but
Yeah, it's hard
yeah,
to
no, it's a
imagine
great song.
what
Oh
could
my
possibly be going on there.
There's some mystery.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Lego?
For me, it'd be like whatever. I love drumming too. Probably just throw on
Ooh.
some Amberlin, some Emery. Just go to town, you know. So yeah, that's my jam. Mute Math too. Yeah, that 2000 era rock is very nice.
Who was that last one? Mute?
Mute Math. They're not
Oh,
around
yeah.
anymore. But their
okay.
drummer is like my favorite, like crazy man who duct tapes headphones onto his face because he's so wild on the drum set. Like it's
Mm.
amazing. If you should just Google like Mute Math live anything. It's incredible.
Nice.
I will do that.
For me is yeah, so Creepy Nuts is my favorite band artist ever, this point probably, and currently. I listen to a lot of things, but I mostly listen to hip hop, R&B from the like 80s to 2000 kind of era is my jam for sure. But at the moment, yeah, like a lot of Japanese music mostly, because they have a very interesting hip hop scene there. It feels very like when I was growing up listening to hip hop, so it's kind of reliving that again.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
That's
Creepy
cool.
Nuts. I know I've listened. They're like in that vein, right?
Yeah.
They're like, if you had to describe them, what are they? Like Japanese, like pop rock, or like
Japanese rap. Yeah, they do a lot of
yeah,
interesting
rap
stuff
rock.
though, because like if you listen to their instrumentals without their vocals on it, it doesn't even sound like the same song, because the artist who's doing all of the vocal stuff just does a lot of very interesting things with changing the rhythm of the song.
That's cool.
Nice.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I listen to a ton of different stuff, but I'm definitely more in the probably like energetic, gym forward vibe. I actually end up listening to a lot of like I don't know if it's like alternative metalcore, but bands like, I was just trying to remember stuff like everything from Polyphia to, I'm looking through my stuff here, Bill Murray, Dead Legs, Windwalker, sorry. But then I also listen to like lighter hip hop, I guess I would say, like Connor Price, if you know. But I like God, I was thinking of a few others in there in terms of hip hop. I'm definitely into some of that stuff too. So it varies, but I'm definitely, the more important thing is I'm just not the type of person that wants to like go back in a catalog. Like as much as I grew up in an era of like whatever, Smashing Pumpkins and, Alice in Chains and Metallica, like I love that stuff, but I can't listen to it anymore. It's more like I might get in a mood to like go listen to some of that stuff, but I'm way more always trying to find like what's new. And frankly, I feel like I've been spinning my wheels for the last like year or so.
Right.
Sleep Token, for example, came out with a new album. I love Sleep Token and stuff like that. I guess it's a lot of variations on lighter metal.
That's cool. Yeah. I realized I've gotten into instrumental stuff. I don't know if it's because of YouTube and like always looking for tracks or being a videographer, but like I just even like just browsing like all the instrumental stuff of every type. Like I'll just like have it play what's new and just listen through everything because it's just such a wide variety of interesting sounds and instruments and styles of music. And it's kind of nice to just focus on the music, like you were saying, Watts, with how it sounds so different sometimes between vocals and not having
Yeah.
them.
Buko16 says, who are you gonna take on the golden saucer date? Easy.
Golden Saucer Date?
Barrett.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like it's a section of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh.
Will probably
So it's section
appear
of
in
Final Fantasy
Remix.
VII that now they are kind of giving you almost a mini
Remember it at all.
dating sim situation where the relationships that you build when they're with you will be like who ends up going on the date with you. But you can take like anyone. I think you can take Red with you. So I'm gonna take red with me.
I mean, Tifa, obviously.
Obviously.
And Game Express says this year we've had a few multiplayer online survival games, Pal World and Shrouded, Nightingale. Smaller
Yes.
teams seem to be driving this trend. Blizzard just canceled theirs. Which studio or cast of characters would you like to see take on the survival genre?
Capcom would probably do pretty good. Because like Dragon's Dogma isn't a survival game. It's a RPG, but I call it like the ultimate role-playing game experience because it does have some of those mechanics. So if they push that even further, I think they'll do a great job with it for a AAA game taking it on.
I could see Capcom. Yeah.
This isn't my genre, so I'm having trouble with this one.
It's not super my genre. They're games that I get in and I'm like, I'm having a really good time, woo! And then like a week later, I don't feel compelled to jump back in.
Yeah, bingo. It's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah. I did try Pal World and I did play Nightingale for 8 hours 2 days ago. But yeah,
They're just such a
not my
grind.
forte.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Ask this question again when TV is on because he loves these games.
True. Yeah, yeah. Ask
Right.
it
Yeah,
next
that's a good idea.
week because I would be very interested to see what company he thinks would tackle it really well and give him something new.
It would never happen, but like I think if you took The Last of Us to, mechanics and the quality of that and put that in an actual survival game, would be awesome. But
I came so close to saying Naughty Dog. That's funny.
Oh yeah, you were thinking it too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, wait, did I say something?
No.
Oh, dude. Well, I mean, because Last of Us 2 is about
It's
surviving,
survival, yeah.
but
Mhm,
it's not a survival game, but it has like the light crafting. But if you literally took the quality of that, like imagine being in an open world with that quality,
Dang, yeah.
it'd be really dope. But yeah.
Zachary Richardson says, "Are you guys gonna go see Dune 2? If so, are you gonna get the special edition popcorn bucket?"
Oh, I thought you already
definitely getting the bucket.
We've established that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, think about
think we've
while
heard
you're
enough about
driving,
this
how
bucket.
useful that bucket would be.
For
Like,
throwing
'cause-
your garbage in. Keep the garbage in there with
right,
the
it's gonna
little
stay
teeth
in,
on top.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
True.
You don't have to worry about spilling your popcorn.
Right, while you're watching YouTube.
Right.
Just picture Briar with his big Dune bucket, he's bouncing back and forth. His hands are all buttered up.
I'm just picturing his
Watching
hand getting
YouTube.
stuck in there. Like he's not
Trying to,
able
like-
to get it out. Wait.
trying to shift gears, like
Yeah.
Hold on, honey, you're almost to work.
Dune. The first Dune movie that came straight to streaming, right? When it came out,
HBO.
and me
No,
and the
that was
wife, like we
Was
both
it
like
in
just
IMAX?
adored it. So we'll probably go see this in theaters. When does it come
Wait, I
out?
thought
Has
the
it
first one
premiered yet?
did
Is
hit
it
in
out?
IMAX and all that.
They're
No,
Yeah,
I know,
it
it's
did
out
go
like
to
March
theaters
1st.
eventually, but I think it premiered on HBO.
Oh, because of
Thought
COVID?
it did both. I think it did both at the same
it?
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It definitely came to theaters, but because it was like big in IMAX and all that. But yeah, this comes out. I think it's around March 1st, so it's like right around the corner.
around the corner. Okay.
I can't wait. Dude, that director is just like, even if you don't like Dune, like just the visuals and the way that he presents stuff is just, I'd watch it just for that. Like, even if because I
Feast
don't
for
really
the
know.
eyes.
I don't know Dune well, but I enjoyed the first one so much, not even just for the world building, but just the visuals alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it'd make it an amazing screensaver. We're gonna do 2 more questions. Sir says, "How do you guys feel about people wanting to play Crucible with no abilities? Are you on the go play Call of Duty side, or the abilities are too strong for PvP side?"
I think people want to play without abilities. I think that's fine. I wouldn't be like, because Call of Duty feels very, 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 very different. It's a very feeling different game, even if you just have your guns. I do tend to like the beginning period of Destiny 1 ability uptime where it wasn't that prevalent. Yeah. I like the kind of checkmate, OG checkmate ability timers.
Yeah,
Those
I,
were
I
pretty
like
good.
having a choice, which
Yeah.
we're still gonna have. So
Yeah. I think that I'm definitely going to check this out because, frankly, it just sounds like a cool, different way to play Destiny.
Yeah, just imagine like starting around and you not immediate like you're in a hallway and you're not immediately greeted by a barricade. Like you can't
True.
do that. Like that sounds interesting to me, just to not have these things available. So it goes back to that feeling fresh thing, just having something different.
Yeah. Rundus says, now we must ask the real question. Are you guys going to play the Final Shape or Shadow of the Erdtree first? Also, any of y'all heading to PAX East this year?
So the Final Shape comes out June 4th.
Yeah, so probably play that
And
first.
Shadow of the Erdtree comes out on the 21st. And I don't think any of us are going to just like not play the Final Shape until Elden Ring's out. So
yeah, they line up nicely.
That's pretty easy. It is a lot better than I thought it would be. I was very, very nervous the day before they showed the trailer. I was like, oh my God, please don't be March. Don't be April.
Yeah.
Oh, please don't be like the week of the Final Shape. I really do want to have some time to be in the Final Shape. So yeah, it works pretty well.
You got to get that trailer 3 months ahead of time. You know what I mean, Briar?
Yeah.
It's not going to give me any credit for it. That's fine.
No. Definitely not.
Everybody's more like, I told you we farmed the Steam data. It was true. You were wrong. I was like, they're going to do a trailer. Like, I actually had said to, never mind. Let's talk enough about Elden Ring.
We haven't talked enough.
Follow-up question. Also, any of y'all heading to PAX East this year?
No, I wish I was.
No, I won't.
Never been. And I love the East Coast.
Yeah, no, but I just realized my vacation ends small family trip the day before the Final Shape comes out. So that worked out really well.
Ooh, close call.
Very
Close
nice.
call.
Wow.
Yeah. Happenstance too.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week.
Tune in to see if I'm here.
What?
I might call out sick to my employer.
This is a Final Fantasy sick day, huh?
Potentially. We'll see. I mean, I'm gonna my current plan is to wake up early and play for many, many, many hours before the podcast.
Okay.
But if for some reason I can't do that, maybe my back's playing up or whatever, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Next week's my birthday week too, so I don't know, Briar. Feels like I deserve a day off, you know.
Why am I suddenly
days
like
before,
the boss
but-
in this scenario? Because that's not how this works.
You're the bad guy.
Oh, you guys don't want to do the podcast? Yeah, me neither. I'll see you next week.
Briar's there playing Rebirth, like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's good.
Cool
We're
by
good. Sounds
me.
great. It will be a Briar stream. Briar will stream his Rebirth during podcast hours. Also March 1st, which is the day after the podcast, it is the Wicked Showcase, and I will be streaming the showcase.
What's Wicked Showcase?
That's all I'm saying. It's the showcase that No Rest for the Wicked is doing, where they're gonna tell us more and show us more. So I don't know if that's gonna be a release date, if it's gonna be a demo. I don't know what it's gonna be. So, but I will be around for that.
Awesome. I have been just watching Capcom Cup for like a week now. And, there's still like 4 days left. I think it ends on Sunday. So.
Oh, you know what, Brian? We do need to talk about your feelings about the official name for Project L and stuff. Maybe we can do that next week.
Did they name it? What did they name it?
ZXKO.
I don't like it.
That was all everyone's reaction. ZXKO. Okay.
Why did they name it that?
I don't know. I think it's a tag thing, so it's I don't know what the Z comes from.
I'm gonna say let's bring that one back and rethink it a little bit. I think Project L is a better name.
Project L I thought was pretty good. Yeah, Project L's kind of cool. No, it's like Stellar Blade all over again.
I
That
have
was called
already
Project
forgotten.
Eve.
Which letters were they? ZXKO?
ZXKO.
I'm never gonna remember that. That's terrible.
And everyone's like, how am I supposed to pronounce this? Because
Yeah,
some
how
people
do
are
you
like,
say it? That's what I
is
was
it
thinking.
Z times KO? Is it like ZKO? And you're doing a Hunter situation? They're like, no, it's pronounced how it's spelled. It's ZXKO.
Oh, no.
Yeah. ZXKO. Yep.
How's the SEO on 4 letters?
Bran.
I don't know.
Mm.
When it's those 4 letters, it's bad. Let's just put it that way.
All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next. Maybe we'll see you next week. Maybe, you know what?
We will.
Maybe not.
Okay, we gave them an opening. Pretty
Guys,
sure.
we'll find out next week on Dragon Ball Z. Will DCP survive another week? I don't know. Find out.
Who knows?
Next week on DC Plus.
Bye, guys.
Bye.